Hey folks, how's it going? So today we have the Kanto U4 speakers here with us today. And if you see the size of this speaker, it's a pretty small speaker. It features a 1-inch silk dome or soft dome tweeter and a 4-inch Kevlar woofers. And you may be thinking, 4-inch Kevlar woofers, that's not gonna do bass. But we're gonna talk about that in a minute because this speaker sounds phenomenal. But what really makes this speaker shine is really the features that goes into it. Most active speakers don't have the features the Kanto line has on the U2, U4, and U6. So this is the middle of the lineup. They have the 2-inch one, 4-inch one, and the 6-inch one. So now we're going to talk about the features. So the first thing that really grabbed my attention when they asked me to review this speaker was the phono section. It has a phono, and what that means is that you can connect a turntable directly in to the speaker, and you can just play it. It's simple as that. You have a turntable, you hook it up to this, and you play it. You can have like a project turntable, a U-turn turntable, which is what I used, and you can just play. And it sounds pretty good. The noise floor is lower than most active solutions out there. The built-in phono stages and all that. I'm not really a fan of those things because they tend to have a high noise floor. And although it's good for budget, when you think about the musical enjoyment, there's just too much static noise. And in fact, my friends at MBT Studio, they were talking about how they don't like turntables and they will never get turntables because of their experience of having that kind of static noise. They just didn't get why a turntable sounded so great. And when I talked about my turntable collection and my vinyl collection, they were like, "Why, Jay? Why would you do that? Wouldn't you rather have a good DAC or a streamer?" And we're going to talk about that, but to me, vinyl is nostalgic. It brings me something that a streamer cannot, a DAC cannot. It brings me something of a value, a different way of playing music. Now, aside from that, now we're sidetracking, but aside from that, it's great to have and see that the Kanto supports a turntable option here for people who are into turntables. And to have it in an active solution where you don't have to have a preamplifier, a phono stage, it's great to have such a simple solution. Now, you have no idea how many times a client walks into the store that I work in at Audio Excellence and they tell me, "I want to get into turntables." And when I tell them, "Oh, well, you need to get this, and then, tell them, the price, they usually turn off because it's such a hard way to go down. You don't expect so many things required to play a simple vinyl. But truth be told, it's a whole another system, and this is the way I put it to people who are getting into turntables. Don't do a half-assed job, and really research what you're getting, because a turntable is like a whole another system. You have a stereo system. I see the turntable side of things as a whole another system. In fact, at one point, my turntable setup costed as much as my whole entire system without the turntable, right? And the reason being is it has a tone arm, it has a cartridge, and the platter, everything is there that all comes together to make that sound that you're looking for. And so it's very different from any other components in your system. And depending on the turntable, it's upgradable, which is great. But again, to have that available on a speaker and the noise floor being low and being playable is a great option. And I really appreciate that. People who are looking for Bluetooth speakers right now probably already left this video. They're like, he's talking about turntables. God, I'm here for Bluetooth speakers. I'm here for desktop solutions. Why is he talking about turntables? But regardless, if you're still here, this is a Bluetooth speaker as well. All you have to do is connect it to your phone, and that's it. You just start playing. And it's easy as that. It's simply amazing, really. You can go analog, and then you can also go Bluetooth. And it also has, if you look at the back, it also has wired functions. You have RCA, you have aux, so you can connect it to, multiple things. Literally, you can connect multiple things. It has so many inputs. It has optical, 2 opticals, and the ground for phono stage, of course. And it's just simply amazing how many things they packed into the speaker and still managed to make it sound decent or sound good for each one of the connections. Okay, that's pretty impressive to me. Like if you pack something this much into a system or integrated system and make it sound half decent, that's amazing. But really at this price point, this sounds amazing. So that's really impressive. Now, looking at this, another thing they did here is they have a USB port here. And when I first looked at that, I was like, what is that for? Is that to charge the speakers so that it's portable? Now, although that idea may have been cool and better, wink wink, because then you don't need to hook it up to a power outlet. The idea is cool, but that's not what this is for. This is actually for charging your phone or other devices. So when you have this plugged in and you want to charge your phone, you can hook it up here and you can charge it. Now, that is the most, I guess, weird thing to have on a speaker, but it's there. And I tried that to see if there's any deterioration in the sound quality when you're charging your phone. And there's really none. I couldn't notice any, kind of distracting, noise coming from doing that. Now, regardless, this speaker packs a punch. And now if you have noticed, this is a rare ported design. And that's where it really becomes interesting in terms of sound quality, which we will get into right now. Now, in terms of sound quality, the Kanto U4s are very impressive. It has that wow factor in the very beginning of getting the speaker. And what I mean by that is because it's such a small speaker, it's deceiving. It's deceiving in the fact that when you play these speakers and it sounds it sounds big and it fills the room, you're like, wow, is that sound coming from those little speakers? That's what your first impression is like. And in fact, I had people over to listen to the Kanto U4s, non-audiophile friends, and they were first comment was they're very pretty, and they come in many different finishes if you don't like this one, but it seems like a lot of the girls and women like this color. I don't know why, but they do. And I'm telling the truth, they do. And so the first comment was they really like the finish. And the second thing was, is that sound coming from those speakers? Because quite frankly, they sound really big. And because they're so small, they disappear really well. And not so much that they image like crazy, but they do image quite well. And because they're so small, they kind of disappear and give you that kind of, effect where you don't really hear it from the speakers, but more from the center of the room, which is amazing in a stereo situation for such a small speaker. And let me tell you guys, any of you who has a spouse, they will approve of this. If they don't approve of this, they're not gonna approve of anything. Seriously, this is small, beautiful, elegant, you name it. Simple, very simple, right? Now, it has a 1-inch soft dome tweeter, and that's what I want to talk about in terms of the high frequency and a little bit of the mid-ranges. Now, since this is a 2-way speaker, it's not gonna beat any 3-way speakers per se or a floor standard like the Tectons I have here in the background. It's not gonna do that. But what you can do to make it better is to add a subwoofer to it, and because it has a sub out, you can add that. Now, what often happens when you add a subwoofer, and by the way, the subwoofer they recommend is the Sub 6, which is a little bit of a bigger woofer than the 4-inch one. And when you add a subwoofer to the speaker, what ends up happening, to most speakers like this, where it has a sub out, is the top end kind of gets rolled off too much. Comes muddy, comes boomy. And that's what I suspected of happening when I connected this. But it didn't. And the reason I suspected it of happening was because it's a soft dome tweeter. And soft dome tweeters tend to have this kind of relaxed high frequency. And they are notorious for having a roll off in the high frequency, which some of us really love. They love the natural roll off. They love the sound characteristics. For those of you that are watching that are into headphones, think of the HD 600, Sennheiser HD 600, or even the 650. They are natural sounding, but they are not like the most sparkly, treble, detailed headphones. But a lot of people enjoy them, including myself. And that's what this is basically. It's the soft dome does that. Now, but imagine you add more bass through EQ or adding a subwoofer to your headphones to the HD 650s. That's kind of like, oh god, that's gonna be bloated. And that's what I thought was gonna happen, but quite amazingly, all the frequencies are very well separated. Despite it being, a soft dome tweeter, which is amazing. But with that being said though, it doesn't have the most sparkly top end. It's relaxed. It doesn't lose any kind of detail, but it's also not the most detailed. So it's very easygoing. No one's gonna shout at you, "Oh, that's too bright." I'm bright. I'm treble sensitive. Don't play that. No one's gonna say that. It's a very relaxing speaker. You can play it entire day and you will not get fatigued. And I can see that with confidence. Now, the Kevlar is an interesting material to use for a woofer. It's not the first time, obviously. It's been used quite a bit of times. But it's interesting because it was used in tires long time ago. And they're that kind of rigid material. And because of that, I think you get more of a tight bass. Now, that's my assumption. Now, what really drives the bass for this speaker, other than the fact of the Kevlar woofer, is the fact that it's a rear ported design. It has a port at the back. So if you put it towards the back more, you get more bass. Now, with that being said, it's deceiving because 4-inch woofer, and it doesn't sound like a 4-inch woofer. It sounds like 6'10", 8-inch woofer. 8, even 10. Sounds like about a 10-inch woofer. And you can really crank this up. Oh, and here. This is the remote for it. Now, plastic, nothing special, but it has all the functions, Bluetooth connections, treble adjusting, bass adjusting, which we'll talk about in a minute. But that's what it is. Now, on the remote, you have a treble and a bass adjustment. And this is very typical in an active speaker. You get treble and bass adjustments. Now, one thing I don't like about these kind of thing is they tend to sound synthetic. If you're increasing the treble, you're not getting more detail. You're getting more bright, more forwardness in the high frequency. Not so much more detail. It sounds synthetic. Now, the bass is similar in that regard. But one thing that I really like about the Kanto is that it kind of does it incrementally, very, very small amounts of incremental adjustments for the treble and bass. So that leaves you with a bit of a problem when it comes to, I want it somewhere between this and this setting. But regardless, it's not a more natural response. It's more of a synthetic response regardless. There's no avoiding it when it comes to active speakers and these kind of adjustments. So if you're gonna think that, okay, I'm going to EQ it so that it's the most ultra detailed speaker out there, make it sound like the Klipsch RP600M in the top end by increasing the treble all the way, it's not gonna do that. But what you can do is, if you have a very dead sounding room, then you can turn the treble up. If you have a very lively room, bright sounding room, you can turn the treble down. And that really was enjoyable to use in non-treated rooms. Now, the bass is the same way. If you want a little bit more bass for certain songs, you can do that. And that was certainly enjoyable. An example was I was playing Hey Now by London Grammar. And I really love that song. It's just such a beautiful song. But anyhow, I really wanted a little bit more bass, so I increased the bass. And to my surprise, it was more enjoyable than with listening it without the adjustment. Now, I know one question that I'm gonna keep on getting after this video is going to be, can you compare it to the Fluence speakers, to the Edifier speakers? And the Edifier speakers are on its way for review, so I haven't heard them yet. The Fluence, I've heard them multiple times, and I'm gonna comment on a few things. The soundstage on this is better. The soundstage is larger than most active speakers despite its size. Imaging is better. And that maybe because these speakers are a little bit smaller, but imaging is better on these speakers for sure. And what really impressed me, the bass response seems normal and equal for the most part. But what really impressed me was when I played songs, demanding songs like Hot Spade, London Grammar, Blake, Sade, all those songs, when it was a very demanding, bass heavy song that really, makes a lot of speakers struggle and start bottoming out. This speaker handled it perfectly fine. It handles it like a boss. Seriously, I was quite surprised. Most bookshelf speakers, in fact, the passive ones, even the triangles and the clips, can't handle that song. Those songs that I play, Hot Spade especially, starts bottoming out. You hear the clipping, and when I played it with the Fluence, when Tujin was here after his review, in fact, he was like, oh, I should have included that in my review because I didn't play that song and I didn't know that it was bottoming out. Now, if you don't play demanding songs like I do, I really enjoy playing demanding songs and making those speakers work, those woofers work, then it's not going to be a problem. But if you do, then, Fluence, it bottoms out. Edifier, I haven't tried yet. The Kanto, it doesn't bottom out. It plays loud and like a boss. It doesn't bottom out. It plays loud. This fills a room, a small to mid-sized room, no problem for the most part. Again, it's not gonna beat a floor standard. It's not gonna be any kind of bigger passive speakers, but it does fill the room. So that's impressive. It's not gonna fill a large room. If you have a large, theater room that you wanna make, this is not gonna do it. Really enjoyed my time with these. These are really good for even near field because they're small. Just absolutely love them. And they brought me nostalgia with the turntable, Bluetooth with convenience. It's an all-in-one package of musical enjoyment, and I don't know why anyone would choose a sound bar or a boom box or whatever it is, the Bluetooth speakers versus these speakers. And they come around the same price these days. So there you have it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one.